Yeah, no worries.
I really do appreciate it, man.
And I see a couple of my friends have done your thing, so it's like it's cool to be asked to do it.
Yeah, and and the guy, what's his name? Brandon.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you know him very well, but he's been on too.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. So I want to start off here, man. When was the first time you got drunk? Do you remember that?
Uh, I like drank a little bit here and there, but I feel like the first time I really got drunk was I got dropped off at a movie theater by my mom with a girl, and I think we saw Employee of the Month with Dane Cook. And I basically just like drank in like a crystal geyser full of vodka, basically to myself, and just like barfed so much. That was like the first time I remember being like really, really drunk, and I was probably like 14 or something.
Yeah, and it makes Dane Cook funnier, and Dax Shepard, I believe, he's
Yeah,
also in that.
yeah, yeah. That's
Did
good.
the did the girl partake, or was it just you?
No, yeah, she was drinking as well. I think we both just like overestimated how much we could consume. It was like a lot of sloppy makeout stuff, and then just a lot of like barfing and just like not a good scene. Uh, yeah, I remember like my mom picked me up, and I like was like stumbling to the car, and just like she's like, "What the fuck? Like how?" Like I just like got in trouble because I was like obviously like reeked like vodka and was like, I actually since then I can't drink vodka. Like that's just not
Not at all.
not at all. No.
Oh
I mean, like
man.
I've taken like a shot here or there once, but like only if it's like a pressured situation. Like I've never, like even in cocktails, nothing. I don't really like vodka at all.
Only if Dane Cook is like, come on, dude, do
Yeah,
it. It'll be funny.
yeah. Dane Cook themed.
What was the first band that you were in?
First band. Well, there was like me and my brother Elvis, who's also in FIDLAR. We would do like talent shows and stuff at our like elementary school. I wouldn't really consider that a band. But when I was like about 11, I joined this band called The Diffs, which was like a punk band. My brother wasn't originally in it, but then was in it for most of the time. Yeah, and we like just recorded and played a bunch of shows with like a lot of the old like punk bands. Like we ended up opening up for like Circle Jerks and like Dickies, and we actually went on tour with the Addicts and stuff like that, like just like all the old kind of original West Coast punk bands and stuff.
Wow, man. And was it just West Coast centered tours, or would you go all
Yeah,
around?
yeah. It was just, the one tour we did was just kind of a West Coast thing, and we did like South by Southwest one year, like a little later on, and then we did like Lollapalooza, like on like a really small side stage at some point. Also, I think that was like 2007 or something, and I was like 15 or whatever.
That's prime time to be doing Lollapalooza, dude.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that. Those are prime Lollapalooza years.
yeah, exactly. I think that's like right when it came back. Like I think because it was gone for like a while. I think it was like a touring festival in the '90s and shit, and then it was like I think that was like one of the first couple of years when it was like, all right, cool, it's a festival in Chicago again.
Yeah. Do you hear that whining? Is it on my end? That like
Oh, is it from me?
if,
Uh, it
if it
probably
is, it's fine. We'll leave
okay.
it. We're leaving all this in, dude. There's no editing.
Fuck it.
No way. The listeners, if they're true fans, they'll just keep on listening to it.
Yeah, it's probably just my janky equipment.
No, it's good. It gives like a nice ambiance, man. It's like it's like a garage project,
Exactly.
a garage band project, if you will.
Exactly.
Well, were you when you started to record? Were you using just at home stuff, or you didn't move into the studio right away, right?
Yeah. Well, my dad is a musician, and he's kind of always had stuff at home. Like he has a little studio at home, but that was a little like unobtainable when I was a kid. But then when I was like in high school, I went to like a performing arts magnet high school, and we actually had like a class called electronic music, which would teach you how to like record music and stuff. So that's like kind of where I started to actually learn how to do most of that kind of stuff. Like we learned like kind of very basic like Pro Tools, and then also like this whatever like program called Reason, which is like kind of like hip hop, like making beats and stuff. And so yeah, that's kind of where I started learning how to do that stuff and getting interested in that.
We get into a lot of trouble as a high school youth.
Yeah. I mean, not really. I wasn't. I mean, I went to a pretty big like public high school where there was just like a lot of kids like going wild all the time. So like, I didn't necessarily get in really that much trouble. No, I don't think. But still like ditched class and did that kind of stuff, but not like any kind of major like expulsion level kind of shit. Mostly just like smoking weed like all the time.
What was it? When was the first time you got high? Do you remember that?
Yeah, well, it was like the same kind of thing with the drinking, where it's like I had done it a couple times, but didn't really, probably just wasn't inhaling at the time. And then it's really funny. My friend Matt Zuck, who was kind of around the beginning of FIDLAR and stuff, like in like ninth grade, I went to his, like I slept over at his house and like got in the back of his sister's PT Cruiser while she was playing like Axis Bold as Love. And we were just like smoking weed, and I just remember just like putting my head back, like whoa, like it just being like so high, like I could not even. Yeah, that was the first time.
I mean, PT Cruisers is where it's at, man. You're supposed to be cruising in that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in the name.
Cruiser. It's like you can't get more stoner than that.
Yeah. I sometimes for people that I ask that question to, they say like, oh, I got high the first time, which is kind of crazy to hear because it's not usually the rule of thumb there. Yeah.
Well, I think the first couple times I smoked weed also was like again, I was in that band when I was like 11, and so like everyone else in the band was like 13, 14, like that when you kind of start smoking weed and stuff. So I was like hanging out with them and like okay, cool, yeah, I'll take a hit, fuck it, like whatever, that kind of vibe where it's like probably wasn't inhaling, probably wasn't doing it right or whatever, but like thinking that I did, like smoking cigarettes and not inhaling, that kind of shit. Just total poser.
Cool kid shit.
Yeah.
It's so interesting now that weed is totally cool. It's so illegal, but me and you, we're from the age of like, weed is so terrible, never do it. It's the same as any hard drug. But now you can't really say that, it's kind of in like it's very way more just popularized, and it's like it's fine to be doing it. It's like you treat it like alcohol, which is just crazy. And I wonder how like the kids that are in whatever 4th, 5th, 6th grade now are dealing with these assemblies. Like, how are they handling that? Like, don't do it, but you're gonna do it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's totally weird. Yeah, because it's like you had to buy weed from someone. Like that's just like so weird. Like that you can just go to a store or even like vape shit where it's like you could just like vape weed is like such a, like if you would have said that like 10 years ago, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like it's just so crazy that's like, yeah, but it's good. I mean, whatever. It's like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's not any worse than alcohol, so it's like what? It's just it should be fucking equal playing field,
Right, exactly. I luckily I think that's how people are viewing it now. But I mean, I don't think Dare has a leg to stand on at this point. So yeah. Did you have those Dare assemblies at the Magnet High School?
I didn't know. I'm trying to think if we had anything like that. Not really. No. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, more like elementary school, like that kind of vibe. But yeah, in the high school, I don't think we really did. It was I went to a really weird. It's like a humongous high school that was like split up into 5 different schools, kind of. So it was like there was like performing arts, and then like humanities, and then like fine art, and like all these like weird things. It's like Spain or something.
Yeah. Well, how were you getting to school in the morning? What was the was a mode of transportation?
Usually I would either walk or get dropped off by my parents, or then once my brother drove. My brother was a year older than me, so he then drove me, and then when I got my license, so yeah. My parents were kind of always like around and doing stuff because like my dad works from home and is in music, and they're pretty like younger parents and pretty involved in like a lot of the shit that we were doing. So we were pretty like close growing up.
Which is good. It's really great to have a relationship like that with your parents that they're on you. Whether you're drinking at a Dane Cook movie, they'll come pick you up.
Yeah, exactly. They would be, but well, that was the shitty part though, is that they like my parents are both like Orange County punkers, and so like any like sketchy thing that I would try to do, they're like, bro, like I've done this already. Like none of your like stupid shit. Like all my other friends had parents who were like, okay, you can go out and do whatever, and were completely oblivious, didn't know what weed smelled like, didn't know any of that shit. And it was like we were just getting busted constantly because it was like they just knew every trick in the book pretty much.
Was Elvis attending the same high school that you were when you would be, because he was a sophomore and you were a freshman? Yes.
Yeah. So he was, same high school. Same kind of shit. I mean, I did jazz shit there, and he did more. He was like deeper in the electronic music stuff. He had started it earlier than me, so yeah. But a lot of the same kind of classes. And stuff. Yeah.
And then what? Do you remember the first show that you went to?
I mean, I think it was. I mean, I don't know if it's an actual memory or if it's like through pictures, but like being like young, like 4 years old, like going to Lollapalooza again, which was in LA at the time. Like there's pictures of like my dad, like holding me and my brother, like watching Green Day and like that kind of vibe, like at Lollapalooza. So that's, I think, the first show, but I went to a lot of shows and stuff growing up, and yeah.
What were some memorable concerts that you attended and not played?
Let me think. Saw Blink-182 at the Palladium. That was pretty sick. Saw Blink-182 again on the Pop Disaster tour. That was Blink-182 was pretty big for us growing up. We went to the Inland Invasion, Inland Invasion, which was like a pretty cool festival that K-Rock put on. It was like all these like old English punk bands playing out in fucking the Inland Empire, which was pretty dope, like the Buzzcocks, and I think the Sex Pistols played, and it's like that kind of vibe. There's one that we did play, my first band, which is probably the most memorable show I've ever played, which was called, I might be mixing it up because maybe this one's called Inland Invasion or something, or it was called some kind of invasion. I forget what it was called, but it was like all these English punk bands playing, and we played on this like side stage, but it was like like GBH, like all like hardcore, like Exploited, like those kind of bands. And then like a full blown fucking riot happened, and it was like this like Nazi guy like stabbed this other guy, and like within like seeing all of it, and then like riot police came in with tear gas and started tear gassing the entire thing, and we had all our gear and merch there and had to like hang out in tear gas like to wait for it to go away so we could fucking get our gear. It was like about, and I was like 14 or something.
Like, hey man, grab the shirts, like covering it, but grab them, man. We need it.
Literally, yeah. It's
important. Priorities, right?
Yeah.
So were you always in bands with your brother?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, I had a couple of years like right after high school where I was like just more of a touring drummer for people also. So there was a couple of tours and things I did that weren't really with him, but like all the kind of major league stage.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's so interesting to have that relationship with a sibling, to be playing with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's weird. It's just weird to have been playing music with someone for years. Almost, where it's like I'm almost 30, but it's like we've been in bands and playing music for 20 years.
Yeah, you kind of cutting out a bit. Is it your? I'm so sorry, man. Is it your mic?
Is that better?
That's great. That's so great.
Yeah, when I try to get all fucking hi-fi, it's janky as hell.
I'm sorry, man. I don't mean
no,
to
you're
keep
good.
On.
You're good.
this is how all the shows go. I say, hey, that's not good enough. We gotta. So we're gonna start right now, actually.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm kidding, man. No, that is really interesting. I couldn't imagine being in a band, multiple bands with my brother. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't see it, but that's great. That definitely. Do you feel that has strengthened your guys' relationship, or kind of bonded you together, or kind of separated you in a way?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways. I think it's like, it sometimes can get hard, like separating, because it's also weird when you tour as much as we have. Like in the past, it's like you go on tour for 6 months out of a year. It's like when you get back, it's like, I don't want to see any of you guys. I don't want to like talk, and and they can kind of sometimes be weird when it's like your brother instead of just like your friend, like Brandon or Zach or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's up and down. It's like we've figured out. It's like, like any kind of relationship, and just especially with this whole like quarantine stuff, it's been weird, extra, because I just haven't really seen him that much, or so. But
which is good, because you guys hate each other, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
really
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, we don't. Yeah. We're gonna start hanging. I got the first vaccine dose ready to go. He got the first vaccine dose. We're gonna be kicking it pretty soon.
Good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you join FIDLAR? Were you still in high school at this time?
No, I was just out of high school. I think I was like 18. I met Dagger like a party through Elvis. They were working on a show together, and then we just started hanging out. And then I think 2010, we started like playing parties and stuff. And yeah. So yeah, that's and then I was doing those touring stuff. Like I was gone for a little bit, and then our friend Dan played drums for a while, and then once I kind of like quit that band, it was like, all right, let's full on do this all the time, because it was pretty like I'll play a show this weekend, and then a month later we'll play another show, and it wasn't like consistent enough to like do full time really. So
yeah, so the first shows were like what, like house parties and whatnot?
yeah, the very first show was actually at a skate park in Culver City, like at this like bike ride. It was like a stop of a bike ride, and we just set up on like this grass and like daisy chained from one outlet, like all the amps and stuff. So that was pretty dope. And yeah, there's a lot of house parties and stuff. Like at that time, it seemed, I'm just old now, so I don't really know about house parties anymore. Like I just feel like, oh, house parties never happen anymore. I'm sure they do happen. I'm just like old dude, but like it seemed like there was always like a house party going on, and we would yeah, we played a lot of them like all the time. It's like basically if anyone asked us, we play.
What was the wildest shit you've seen at a house party?
We played this like one on New Year's, and this like girl took a shit off of this trailer while we were playing. I didn't see it happening, but like it was like we were set up in front of this trailer, and then I think she was like a performance artist or something, and her performance art was to piss shit or something. And like, so she took this shit off this trailer, and everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? Like I didn't see it, but they were like, this girl was shitting off of this trailer while you were doing it. And so yeah, and that was pretty nuts. And just yeah, I think we also bought Molly off of a dude from that New Year's. We were like on Twitter, like, hey, is anyone having some guy named Stony Danza or something on Twitter was like, yeah, roll through, I got some pills. Okay. So sketchy. It's like,
when did you get into like harder drugs like that, like kind of leaving smoking weed and going into other stuff?
Probably about that time. I never like got really super deep into anything. I mean, I just mostly smoked weed back in the day, but like kind of like right after high school, beginning of FIDLAR stuff is when we kind of were doing little more rowdier stuff like that. But yeah, I never really had like a phase of like going kind of deep down that rabbit hole.
Right. Would you smoke weed with Elvis? Like when you guys were before being in FIDLAR and stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time.
Did you smoke weed first or did he smoke weed first?
I think it was kind of pretty similar amount, I think. I mean, we had like a lot of the same friends in high school, and I had kind of friends in my grade, but then I hung out with the friends in his grade a lot too. And it seemed like everyone was pretty much smoking weed. So yeah.
Did you guys ever get rolled for doing it by your parents?
Oh yeah, 100%. But we would always like have little like things like where it's like, oh, that was like our friend Zuck or whatever. We would like blame it on our friends that we kicked it with all the time, which is like didn't make any sense because then they'd be like all sketched out if we were hanging out with them. But yeah, I mean, it was like a couple times we got busted, but you know, it's pretty easy to get some Visine and you know, you're good.
Yeah, but they're from Orange County, man. They know which ends up around there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a job, but like while not in music at all, but like a regular job in the beginning of FIDLAR?
Not at the beginning of FIDLAR, because I was just still living at home. I didn't end up going to college, so I was like kind of just being a little fucker at my parents' house, like kicking it. I mean, I did go on tour pretty quickly after high school, but I had a couple jobs in high school. I like worked at a movie theater in West LA called the Landmark, which was cool. And I actually worked at the Hollywood Bowl as like an usher, showing people to their seats and stuff for a summer. Those are kind of like the two big jobs outside of music that I've had. Yeah.
Yeah. just getting shit faced, just asking people to put on whatever it was called, that Dane Cook.
Oh yeah. Employee of the month.
Good luck, Chuck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or no, did you? Or no, it wasn't good luck, Chuck. It was employee of the month, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Dane Cook has so many good films. You know, it's hard to just pick one.
Man, I fucking crushed that first Dane Cook CD when I was like 11. Like I listened to that all the time.
He's funny, dude. He is funny.
Yeah. I revisited it, and it's not as good as I remember as an 11-year-old, but it was pretty funny at the time. It was catering to my comedic needs.
Well, shit, dude. I mean, I was gonna go back and listen to some, but I guess it's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple bangers in there, but I would say it's like, you know, top tier.
Mm-hmm. What was the first FIDLAR song you recorded with the band?
I don't even know. First one I recorded with them, maybe No Ass, I think, which is like an early one. Because I think a lot of those first recordings were like Elvis and Zach just like at the studio that they were working at, and then like later on Zach and Brandon moved to this house that had a studio in. That's where we did the first record. So that's kind of when we started more recording as a band. But I think No Ass I recorded at my parents' house with Elvis. So I think that was probably the first one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I do like that song. It's pretty good. How long was the recording process for the first album?
I think it was definitely a couple months. Like my brother was graduating college and kind of just like coming on his days off and like after school and stuff. And then we were just kind of over at Zach and Brandon's, or at least I was over there like all the time and just like working on shit. I think it was like a 2 or 3 month period. Because we had kind of like gotten a deal, and so I think we work good when we have like a deadline. So it was like you have to fucking finish it by this time. So we were just like, all right, cool, crank out, you know, all these songs, and yeah, it was a fun time though, for sure.
Who was setting this deadline for you?
I think it was the label. I think it was like because we had like signed with them, Mom and Pop, and they were just like, all right, cool, let's get like into production and have, you know, because then you start booking a tour, and then that you have to have the record by the tour, and then whatever, like all that shit kind of ends up happening, and you start getting like, all right, gotta finish it by this, and give it to a mixer, or you'll try to mix it yourself and it'll sound like shit, so then you'll give it to a mixer, and then so that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So how long after you finished production on that did you go on the first tour?
Let me think. So I think we maybe finished recording. I can't remember the exact timeline of it, but I think it was like we probably finished in like early summer or something, and then did a couple like little runs, and then went on like our first big US tour, which was like opening for the Hives, I think like in that fall of that year, in like 2012, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
And then the record came out technically in January, I think, of 2013.
Wow, man, that's crazy. So how was that first tour? How did you feel about it?
It was awesome. It was like, I grew up loving the Hives, and like they're just like the dopest dudes also. And it was just really cool because they like, there was no like back channel connection there or anything. It wasn't like someone like knew their manager or whatever. Like they literally got like a list of like bands and just were like, yeah, like Nick, the guitar player, is just like, yeah, I just listened to every single band on the list and I liked you guys the most, so I just took you on this tour. And we're like, damn, that's sick. And they're just like actual like old punkers. Like they just know all the like punk history, like everything, and like liked hanging out, and kind of showed us the ropes of touring and stuff, because they were like obviously like in a bus and whatever, but like we were just like in a van, like, you know, like getting one hotel room for like 5 people and doing all that. And yeah, they're fucking, it was so sick. Like they're the shit. I love that band so much.
So you were in the van, they were in the tour bus.
Yeah.
Did you rent the van?
We actually, with our first advance, with the advance that we got for the first record, we just basically took all of it and then bought a van. So yeah, we still have it somewhere. It's like completely destroyed, but yeah, we've like done every tour that we did in a van, we did it in that one. So
wow. Did you guys ever do the tour bus, or were you just strictly van when you're driving?
We've done the tour bus a couple times. It's useful when you are playing a lot more shows and you have a little bit more crew members, because like it actually ends up being cheaper than getting like everyone a hotel room and all that. But yeah, it's cool. I kind of prefer the van a little bit, just because there's a aspect of like, when you're in a tour bus, you like, well, there's pros and cons. You get more time in an actual city, because you travel at night while you're sleeping. But there's something like fun about kind of like getting up in the morning, getting in a van, and then like traveling and seeing everything, and like going to actual like, you know, like gas stations, and like getting out of the van, smoking a cigarette, or like, you know, going and getting some chips. Like being out and kind of seeing everything is like definitely a different experience than just like waking up and you're at the loading dock of a venue and you're like, all right, I guess I'll go get some coffee somewhere or whatever, you know. They're both cool though, but yeah.
When you guys were doing the van thing, were you guys all taking turns driving?
Yeah. We do like, I think like 4 to 6 hour shifts, and then would just be like whoever like kind of like whoever is, well, once we got a tour manager, we'd make the tour manager drive up to the shows, but like we'd be like who's gonna be you have to be sober tonight to drive after the show or whatever, right? And it'd always be this kind of like, you know, trying to fight to not be that dude at the end of the show having to drive.
It's like, nah, man, I'm way too fucked up, dude. I just
exactly.
I just had a fifth of vodka in your case, right? And you're just like, I'm too gone.
A crystal geyser of vodka.
Do you feel that really connected you guys as a band in those beginning years in the tour van of just you guys driving?
I think so. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of time together for sure. And I think like early on we also just said yes to everything. So like we were touring pretty much constantly for like 5 years. Which is like it can get a little like exhausting, you know. It's like it's fun and you're getting to see the world and getting to travel and do all this rad shit, but after the fifth time of going to London or going to like these places that you like dream about going when you're a kid, you're just like, I get it, and I want to like just sleep in a bed and hang out with my cat, like be a normal person. So I think on like later on down the line with our band, we've kind of figured out how to balance it a little bit more. But I think it's hard because when you're starting out, you need to kind of do that to just even gain a following, and to get people to care, you have to like keep showing up and keep doing it,
Yeah, definitely. So did you have any experience prior to going on the, I mean, in the continental US? Have you seen a lot of states before that, or was it just like a new thing, like, oh, I'm in whatever, Rhode Island?
Yeah, I've actually never been to Rhode Island, which is one of the
Ever?
weird. Yeah, weird. It was one of the few states I haven't been to. But no, I will, because I had done a couple tours like right before doing the full FIDLAR thing, so that I was kind of me and, well, I guess Brandon too. Brandon was touring in like Rooney and stuff, which I'm sure he told you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm,
So we
I'm
were
a
kind of
big
like,
Rooney fan, man. I brought it up first to say, hey, you know what? Let's talk about Rooney. And then we got
yeah,
around to FIDLAR like way, way, way later on.
yeah, just a lot of Rooney content.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, we but I guess we were like the seasoned vets of touring because we had done a couple tours before. But yeah, I mean, but that was like really the most like, yeah, exploring and kind of like going out and doing stuff, because at the end of the day, it's like when you're touring with another band like that you're kind of like hired to be in, it's not really like the same vibe as like being like, all right, we're just all doing this together, and it's like, fuck it, let's go drive to this fucking swimming, like this lake or whatever, and go like jump in and like hang out and do that kind of stuff. And that's like definitely the most fun part about touring, is like the weird days off where you go like, all right, what's the coolest thing in 100 miles of this place? Let's go fucking do that. Like, just go, get drunk and swim in the lake or something.
Where was some cool shit that you saw, or where was some places that you went that you liked on those off days?
Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, I mean, a lot of like swimming, like in weird places. Like I remember like one time we were in like Oregon and we found like this creek, and we just like swam in this creek, and that was pretty dope. And a lot of things, like also like overseas, like in Australia, one time we went on this like insane hike that was like to this like crazy waterfall in like the middle of like this rainforest in Australia. That was like dope, where you're just like, this is crazy shit. That's like, never thought I'd be able to do stuff like that. But yeah, it's always just kind of random stuff. My brother and Brandon are like kind of the like trip advisor, like let's plan. I'm just kind of like all right, tell me where we're going and let's go, And so yeah, they always kind of find cool shit to do.
Yeah, definitely. What was the first European tour that you guys went on? When was that?
When was the first European tour? I think it was England first. I'm trying to think who. We went there a lot, like in the first. I think it was mostly England, and like maybe Paris, I think, and then we just played like all these like tiny little clubs, and it was sick. Like London is always like one of the most fun cities we play in, just because the kids like go off, and it's like just rad. And that's a place we've gone a lot to, where it's cool to see like the just growth of it too. Whereas like I think we played like 200 people could fit in this like tiny little bar, and then it's just like every time we go back it's like a bigger place, which is rad. So yeah.
That sounds really cool, man. How is it different? What are the key aspects that are different from touring in Europe or anywhere overseas as compared to the US?
Yeah. I don't know. I think um, it's weird because like I feel like our shows are kind of baseline, like have like an energy and like a feeling to them where it's like it's not like I feel like some bands kind of have different experiences in a bigger city and a smaller city where it's maybe people will be crossing their arms or getting into it and dancing a little bit, and like our shows are just fucking nuts pretty much all the time. So it feels, I mean it's but there's definitely like certain towns that have like an energy. Like Chicago is always like just nuts for some reason, and London's always just nuts for some reason. Pretty much all of Australia is nuts all the time. So I think it's just the drunker they get, the better it is usually.
Yeah, which is good. It's good for you. It's good for the audience.
Yeah.
Are you able to play drunk, like very like just out there? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's like I know like my limits with it, but yeah, I can play pretty drunk.
And it sounds good. Sounds normal.
To me, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've also been playing a lot of the same songs for like 10 years now almost, and it's a lot of it's like very like just muscle memory. I could play it like just, you know, my eyes closed pretty easily. So
what songs are the ones that get the kids most energized that you've noticed?
Probably Cocaine and Cheap Beer are probably the big ones. And this song Punks is also, any kind of like the loud, ragey songs usually the kids go pretty crazy for.
Did you guys used to switch up the set list, like ending on Cheap Beer or starting with Cocaine or reverse? Or was it just the same?
We've messed with it a little bit and tried different things. There's definitely like, we kind of found like these groups of songs that work good, because you kind of got to get a flow of fast kind of poppier, slower song, then bring it back up and then bring it back down, whatever, that kind of stuff. We've experimented with it, but yeah, I mean, Cocaine is usually the last song, and Cheap Beer I think is usually the first song. So yeah, because that's like a pretty good just opener.
Opener and closers finish strong, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Modern World, man. How did this come about? When did you start this project?
Yeah, I've just been writing songs for a long time, and we're kind of like, FIDLAR's kind of just in this, we're starting to figure shit out now, but it's like we haven't really been working on stuff. And so like I just have like all these songs from years and years of working on shit, and I kind of was just like, I just want to release some of this shit because it's like I have so much of it. And so I kind of like hunkered down and finished and like kind of reworked and mixed and, you know, did all the shit during the quarantine, because I was like, I have all this free time, I'm just chilling at home anyways, let me pick, I don't know, whatever, 10 songs and just like finish them and make it like a thing. And so yeah,
it sounds great, man. It's kind of I wouldn't say a huge deviation from FIDLAR, but it's definitely your own stuff, which is awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's fun. It's like, I don't know, it's a fun project for me because I like actually don't have any expectations with it. It's like there's no label, there's like, I don't have a manager with it or whatever. It's like there's literally no, like, I don't care what happens with it. I just completely like, I made this shit that I think is cool, so I'm just gonna put it out and whatever. It's like, doesn't matter. So it's actually a kind of a fun way to make music like that.
Yeah, very, very free, very just no.
Yeah,
no,
it's just like fuck
barriers.
it. Yeah, it's like you can like it, you can listen to it. You probably won't listen to it, so it's all good. It's like,
and they should. The people should. They should definitely listen to it. But are you well versed in other instruments? Are you playing all the instruments on this album?
Yeah. I had like my brother show me a power chord when I was like 12 or 13, and then I've basically just kind of learned how to play guitar and do all that. And Yeah, it's all me. And yeah, it's just a lot of sitting and watching YouTube videos of how to do shit and record and do all that. And so, yeah, you just kind of slowly learn more and more, and you get more gear and you get shit. And yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really great. Going back to FIDLAR's discography, how do you feel the third album was received by the fans? Because it was a departure from the normality that was set for the first two.
Yeah,
How do you
yeah.
yeah how do you feel people
I think so.
reacted
I
to it?
think people liked it and some people didn't like it. It's just, I think we got to a point where we were just like, like we don't, like, there's just this pressure to make the first record again. And uh, I love the first record. I love all that stuff, but it's like at a certain point, you just got to start trying some shit and doing whatever. And I think we were all at a place where it was just like, let's just have fun and not, like, kind of in the same way that I was saying, where it was like, it's just like, who cares like about it? Let's just make what we want to make and try some shit. And I think I love that record, and I had a great time making it. And it's like, some people are not going to like it. And you just learn that it's like, it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, you can't, people are either going to be bummed that you made the first record again and you're not changing or doing anything new, or people are going to be bummed that you're not, it's like, it's either or. So it's like, you just learn to go compartmentalize it and go, all right, cool. We're just going to make art and fuck it. Who cares?
Right, make the things that you want to make, for sure. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
people who like it
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And a lot of the songs too, I think, like, translate different live, where like maybe it's more of a studio vibe on the record, but like live, when it translates into like our set, like songs that I didn't even think like kids would go off on, like they like go crazy on off that third record. So it's interesting to kind of see that also.
Yeah, definitely. Has there been a moment while touring that you and Elvis have just gotten to a huge blowout fight?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, not, I mean, I don't think no like relationship ending kind of fights, but yeah, I mean, like fucking bickering, pushing each other, like potential for a fist fight vibe kind of thing for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it has to be like that, because anybody who has siblings could understand that. It's just like, if you're on each other's,
Yeah, I mean, that's been since we were
necks.
fucking 3 years old. It's like just whatever. But yeah, it's all good though. We figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that just amazes me, man. Because I couldn't. I mean, I love my brother Zach. If you listen, I love you, buddy. But there's just no way I could do that with him. And
what's the age difference of you two?
Basically same as you, 2 years.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, right there. Yeah.
Are you guys into the same shit?
Yeah, man. We used to. Well, realistically, him and a friend of his and a friend of mine, Shay, got me into all this music. Shout out to Shay.
Okay.
And my brother. You'd be like, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. And I mean, we would come see FIDLAR, go to Beach Goth, all these different music. So yeah, he really got me into all this music, but there's just no way that would go down like that smoothly.
It's a big commitment spending that much time together.
Especially, I'm seeing him more now, obviously, because we live in the same house. And it's just like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
And as you know, it's different when you get older.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, less bickering, but it's good. And I do love the guy, but there's no way that we could do it what you guys do.
Yeah. Well, we had some practice too, doing the bands before and all that too. So
sure, yeah, man, that's really important to have a bond with your brother, or
totally.
sibling in any case,
Yeah, totally.
What are some moments while you were playing that really stand out to you, like whether it be from the audience or what you were doing? Is there anything that really stands out to you?
Uh, yeah, I mean, there's like definitely like shows that are pretty nuts. We played Australia the last time we were there at this festival called Splendor in the Grass, and that was pretty nuts. Like we had a pretty great slot where we like played on this big, like on the big stage when the sun was going down, and it was just like a fuck ton of people. And we had kind of had like a couple songs on the radio over there from the last record that for some reason like all these kids really like dug, and it was like, I don't know, it just was like it was a trip to see that many people like just so stoked. And Australia's just fucking, they're just like that also. I love Australia. Yeah, that, and then us playing the Palladium also was pretty big for me, because it's like that is like a venue I grew up going to and seeing kind of the bigger shows and stuff, and so it was pretty trippy to like play there. And yeah, there's like certain things. Massey Hall we played one time. We went on tour with the Pixies, which was pretty. All those shows were pretty fucking nuts, and like able to do that. I don't think the Pixies fan base necessarily loved us, but it was like a pretty cool experience to like just like hang out with the Pixies and fucking see them every night. And yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, that sounds insane. Very, very special.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, totally. Like once in a lifetime crazy shit, you know. It's like very weird.
Yeah, man. I feel like people, I mean, the Pixies are well known for definitely, but they got a lot of stuff that's like, whoa, like these are just great songs, you know.
Yeah,
that people kind of overlook.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and they're just fucking great live. Like it's just it's like one of those bands where I would like pay money if they were in LA to go see them play, you know, which is like pretty rare because I just am constant. I mean, nowadays after the quarantine, I'd probably go see anyone play live music just to go out to a venue. But like when you're back from tour, you know, the last thing you kind of want to do is go to a music festival or fucking go see a band live. So,
yeah,
definitely something to see.
Yeah, definitely. When you get done with like a tour, do you kind of take a break from drinking? You're like, I just need to step back from this for a second. Oh, Max, you still there?
Yeah, I think so.
Great,
I mean, yeah, there's like ebb and flow with it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think so. There's definitely kind of try to the older that stuff. So yeah, trying to just kind of like temper it a little bit. I quit smoking cigarettes like a couple years ago, and I don't really smoke weed anymore. So it's like I'm trying to like, you know, figure my shit out. I'm turning 30. I'm just like, I need to fucking figure it out. But yeah, well, who fucking knows? I still drink a lot though, so.
What was the deciding factor to lay off the weed and quit the cigarettes?
I'm really bad with. I'm really good at smoking weed, so I'll just smoke weed all day, like every day, and like I can do anything stoned. And then you just get to a point where you're like, you know, like the way that I always describe it is like I would get like paranoid that the dude at the sandwich place thought I was weird because I was ordering the same sandwich that I ordered last week. Like you just get paranoid about stupid shit, and like all these like menial tasks become like this like massive thing. And I was like, I just am like fucking all wigged out all the time, and so I just need to not fucking do that. And so I can't like smoke at night and just like hang out because my day is pretty much get up, come into the studio and work on music. So I'm just always like, all right, cool. Well, I'll just smoke weed pretty much first thing with my coffee. And then it just turns into this whole fucking thing where I just like, just better to just not. And then, yeah. But I mean, I love smoking weed, but just the cons started to outweigh the benefits of it. So I was just like, you know, put the bong down.
I love that you said I'm really good at smoking weed. I like that, man.
Yeah,
I like that confidence in it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I could do I could go drive, do errands, fucking take a meeting, fucking do whatever. It's like none of that shit. Like people like are like have like, I don't understand how you can do that and smoke weed. I was like, I could do anything and smoke weed. Like pretty sit and drive for 6 hours in a tour van while smoking a cigarette and smoking a joint and drinking coffee. It was like, yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That's a good skill to have, you know.
Yeah.
Whether you use it or not, you just got to be well versed in these.
Yeah. I had a lot of practice, so.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, dude, I like to wrap this up with some promos. So the people can find Modern World on all streaming platforms, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. And you can find FIDLAR's music at momandpop.com. That's where you can find it, right?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck's going on with we don't have a website anymore, and we don't really have social media. So it's on streaming somewhere. I don't fucking know.
You could find it on all streaming platforms. And I'm pretty sure you could find the hard copy still at momandpop.com.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, there you go. You know better than I do. And I also, on my Instagram, I release music all the time. So you can just see, and my SoundCloud too.
Yeah. Shout. Yeah.
Shit.
Tell them what the Instagram is.
It's just Maxwell Adam. That's it. And then I think it's the same for SoundCloud. And I'll just every once in a while release a song or whatever on there. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. And definitely check out Modern World. It's great, man. And
cool.
and keep an eye out for the new FIDLAR stuff that's in the works. Right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for being on, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, no worries, man.
All right. I'll talk to you in a second.
All right, cool.
All right.